Okay guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. In this episode, we will be answering 2 emails na pumasok po sa In a Nutshell Gmail account. So guys, mag-email kayo sa akin. I will try my best to read all of them. I must admit, hindi po lahat nare-replyan natin, but yeah, minamanage ko na lang po. And ayan, from time to time, we do answer some concerns through our episodes. In this episode, 2 ang ating sasagutin with Attorney Jake Aguilar ng JCA Law Office. Welcome back again, Attorney Jake.
Salamat, Ina. Magandang hapon.
2 emails ang ating sasagutin kasi medyo maikli lang naman I think ang magiging sagot ni Attorney Jake dito nung binabasa natin yung situation. Okay, unahin natin. May concern ang ating email sender. Okay, by the way guys, yung gumagapang dyan sa baba, email yan ni Attorney Jake Hindi yan email lang in a nutshell. Baka doon kayo, ewan ko, kung okay lang din kay Attorney Jake kayo mag-email ng mga concerns niyo, okay? Ang aking email, in a nutshell, vlog@gmail.com. Sige, let's go to the first email. Yan. Okay, hindi ko na pinakita talaga yung kanyang name, Dumating daw sila ng Toronto in 2022. Yung wife, international student. Si Mr. naka-open work permit. Yung anak nilang 19 years old at that time in 2022, kasama rin naka-student permit. Ngayon, tapos na mag-aral si Mrs. Naka-PGWP na. Si Mr. may open work permit pa rin until 2028. However, 21 years old na ngayon ang kanilang anak. So, na to, hindi na covered ng student permit, Kailangan na. Oo. Sabi niya, her recent visa extension was refused. She is currently out of status, yung anak. And unfortunately, sabi niya, we are no longer able to financially extend her stay or apply for restoration. Pero, si daughter pala, may boyfriend since 2020 o bago pa sila dumating ng Canada, guys, Baka awayin nyo, sabihin nyo gumagamit ng AFAM pathway to. 2020 pa raw si boyfriend na Canadian citizen and willing to support her. We are unsure whether it is better for them to apply under common law sponsorship or magpakasal muna and then apply for spousal sponsorship. Ano ba ang best option daw, Attorney Jake?
Ako, ang sagot ko dyan usually is, depende sa tao, di ba? Ano bang gusto nila? Common law lang ba or gusto nila magpakasal? It's a personal decision kasi. And ako naman din, hindi dapat maging basis din yung immigration dun sa decision na yon. Kumbaga, it's really personal. Usually, sinasabi ko sa kanila, wag nating i-consider yung immigration. Although, I will discuss yung benefits.
Yeah, okay.
Pero ultimately, whether you want to get married or be in a common law relationship, that's your personal decision. Parang ganun. Anyway, at kung sa common law kasi, you have to wait 1 year. Yan, nagsasama bilang mag-asawa, marriage-like relationship. Pero pagka married kasi, wala nang 1 year. Once na nagpakasal kayo, lumabas yung marriage certificate, pwede na mag-apply ng sponsorship yon.
Okay.
So, in terms of like advantage, if you call it that, mas mabilis yung magiging process kasi, again, hindi nyo na kailangang hintayin yung 1 year na pagsasama sa common law. Yun lang naman.
That's the only difference, Attorney Jake, dun sa...
That's the only difference na significant na kumbaga may discuss. Other than that, wala masyado kasi andun din naman yung kailangan mo pa rin ipakita na genuine yung relationship. And yung relationship na yon, well, for common law, we call it marriage-like. Kasi kung kumbaga mukha silang mag-asawa, pag tinignan mo, dun sa married, hindi yun mukha. Mag-asawa talaga sila. Kinasal sila.
Yeah.
So, pero at the same time, tinitingnan pa rin doon yung hindi ba yung kasal-kasalan lang? Hindi ba yun marriage for convenience? Hindi ba yun na nagpakasal lang para nga sa immigration status lang? So, syempre, ini-evaluate pa din yan ng officer. So, in that sense, parehas lang siya. Parehas lang yung whether magpakasal sila or maging common law sila. I will say, andun pa rin na kailangan mong i-demonstrate na genuine yung relationship. And it's not for immigration purpose only. Ang pinakamalaking na nga lang, difference noon, sa marriage, walang 1 year na pinag-uusapan. Basta
Oo.
pakasal kayo, yun na yun.
Okay. I think baka nasa isip nila, Attorney Jake, out of status kasi si student, yung anak out of status. May complication ba yan sakaling sila ay mag-apply sa
Magandang
either
tanong.
they get married, okay lang ba magpakasal dito ng out of status? Ano ba yan? Okay ba yun? Pangalawa, o kung common law, okay lang ba yun? Di ba siya maa-alert na out of status siya at baka
Yeah, so
paalisin? Mga ganyan.
I get it. So I think yun ang concern nila. So yung pagiging out of status, at least under existing rules, actually, I don't wanna say rules kasi medyo conflicting yan. I'll discuss in full siguro. Pero kahit walang status, of course, pwedeng magpakasal. Wala naman yung status dun sa pagpapakasal per se. And dun sa sponsorship naman, yes, pwede pa rin i-sponsor kahit walang status. And eventually, magkaka-status siya pag ma-approve na yung sponsorship. So ito nga yung pinaka, I don't wanna say it, pero parang magic kasi yung nga, wala kang status, magka-status ka, PR ka pa. So, but it happens dito sa ganitong situation, spousal sponsorship, nangyayari yun. Pero, ito yung, supposedly nga din, hindi yun pwede kasi kung out of status ka,
Oo, out of
may
status.
violation ka di ba? Nag-violate ka dun sa immigration rules. So, and pwede ka ma-disqualify because of that. Pero, ang daming pera, pero, si government, medyo maluwag siya sa implementation na yun. Kasi nasa sa kanila naman kung paano nila yan i-implement, di ba? Medyo maluwag sila dyan. So, ibig sabihin, kahit merong violation nga, kahit out of status, nagiging nagiging regular, nare-regularize, nagkaka-status eventually under current implementation. I don't wanna say rules kasi hindi yun rules Wala yun sa rules per se. Pero under the current implementation ng rules, pwede yon. But that can change. Yun lang yung gusto ko sabihin. That can always change, especially pag bago na yung government natin or baka kung bago na rin kung magbago yung internal policy ng immigration ministry, pwedeng magbago yan kasi it's more on implementation per se dun sa sponsorship na.
Okay. So, ano ang worst scenario na pwede mangyari dyan? Mukha namang I'd like to believe genuine naman kasi yung relationship. 2020 pa rin, wala pa sila dito sa Canada. Sila na, sorry, Attorney Jake. Ano ang worst that could happen? Pa-approve, uwi siya, ano kaya?
So, ayan, unang-una, so at least tama ka dyan, so magandang observation. Sila na, 2020 pa, even before they actually came to Canada. Pero ang question ko din dyan, na wala doon sa sulat, gano'n na ba kalalim yung relationship? Kasi boyfriend, girlfriend, di ba, medyo mababaw pa yun. Ang kailangan natin yung marriage like, kung ikakasal sila, di, okay, good. Pero doon sa common law, gano'n na ba, kung ready na ba sila doon to go to that level? So, but anyway, nasa sa kanila yan. Tsaka kasi bata pa 21. I don't know. It's a personal thing. And pwede naman nga hindi nga umuwi kasi at some point nga nagiging regular naman yon. But we're not saying you do that. We're just we're just discussing kasi at some point then pwede siyang ma-remove dito sa Canada because walang status. Yeah, walang status But that's up to the government how they implement that. For now din naman kasi hindi siya priority. Yun lang yung masasabi ko. Hindi priority na i-remove ng Canada yung mga walang status. Ang priority nila yung threat sa public safety, public health, yung may mga nakomit na crimes, gano'n. Yun yung priority na kailangang i-remove sa Canada. Pero yung simpleng nag-overstay lang, hindi yun priority. Hindi nila minamadaling pauwiin yun. So, I would say pretty safe pa rin siya. Pwede siyang maghintay na nga lang dito hanggang ma-sponsor siya. And again, as I said, for now, pwedeng ma-regularize yun na out of status na magkakaroon ka ng status PR pa.
Yeah. Actually, alam mo, meron akong kakilalang ganyan ang situation. And right now, na out of status si girl.
Marami yan.
Nagpakasal na sila nung boyfriend. Pero ngayon, meron na siya nung parang open work permit na ginagrant while finalizing.
Pwede pa rin, yeah,
habang
exactly. So
hinihintay.
tama yan. So before, yeah, tama yan, idagdag natin. Actually, hindi mo kailangan hintayin yung pinaka-PR mo. Pwede kang mag-apply ng open work permit. Even if out of status ka, pag nakakuha ka na ng eligibility letter.
Yeah. Yun. Okay. So, yun lang. Pero guys, again ha, this episode is only for
Yun.
informational purposes. We still do not know the entire picture. This does not constitute legal advice. Kaya, okay, mag-consulta pa rin kayo sa specific case ninyo. Okay? This is just to get others, give also an idea sa ibang mga tao, information, baka makatulong lang din. Okay? And by the way, before we move on to our next email sender, okay guys, i-follow nyo ang Facebook page nila, Attorney Jay,
Salamat po.
JCA Law Office. Ayan, JCA Law Office. Sa Toronto sila. Okay guys? And also their YouTube channel, JCA
Thank
Law
you.
Office. Let's help them grow their YouTube channel. Kasi guys, no, sabi ko nga kailangan ng pinapanood natin tungkol sa immigration yung merong nasa posisyon magsalita tungkol sa immigration. Hindi katulad ko na taga lang ako, no, silita ng silita, kaya dapat ini-interview natin yung mga professional. Okay? So doon din kayo manood. O ano na yung next email sender natin? O yan, may clue na kayo dun sa nangyari. Pinalitan ko yung title, guys, ha. Medyo mahaba yung email. Pupuntahan ko na lang dun sa mismong situation. Okay. My friend raw, itong si email sender. Single mom with a 21-year-old son. They came to Canada in 2022, both as students. So, okay. Her son is still in university. Yung friend daw niya completed a 1-year program and is currently on PGWP that expires next month. She submitted her PR application earlier this month, hoping for a positive outcome soon. Nasa Manitoba daw itong mag-ina. Although si email sender hindi sure which PR pathway, basta job-based daw. Okay, tapos I'll skip some portions. Sabi niya, I've known that for a while, ito na, her employer has been consistently late in paying her salary from when she was working part-time and studying until now. At this point, hindi na raw binabayaran for 2 months. Okay? Her sister in the US has been helping them cover basic expenses. Yung anak daw, also working part-time while studying. I've repeatedly encouraged her to look for another job because this situation is unacceptable. Okay? Ito pa nangyari, nag-file daw ng PR application last month. Umalis daw ng bansa si employer, left for her home country, at walang iniwang budget for office expenses and salaries. Unfortunately, hindi pala ito ang first time na nangyari yan. Sabi niya, my friend just endured it because she felt she had no choice. May consultant daw na nag-advise, stay with the employer since changing jobs could affect her pending immigration application. So, in process yung PR. Sabi ni friend, I'm really uncomfortable with her being stuck in this situation while waiting for the decision. Hindi naman daw siya well-versed sa immigration rules, but this email sender is wondering if there's any remedy or option for her friend. Sabi niya, it's hard to accept that someone wouldn't pay an employee for 2 months tapos aalis pa ng bansa without ensuring that the business can operate. Ano pa ba? Ayan. Sabi niya, normally daw, bumabalik naman daw si employer for before tax season. Okay? Since yung negosyo daw pala, si employer is in accounting and tax services. Pero, sabi niya, my friend has no idea when or if that will happen. O, kawawa nga naman, parang iniwan sa ere ang si friend. What do you think about that, Attorney Jake? Ano dapat niyang gawin?
It's unfortunate kasi in most cases din, kailangan din talaga natin ng support sa employer natin, di ba? Kung mag-PPR tayo. Yun din yung lagi ko nababanggit sa mga clients ko na maghanap ng employer na magiging kadikit mo, na susuportahan ka. Kailangan mo talaga yun sa PR or even kung magre-renew ka ng work permit mo, kailangan mo talaga din sila. Kaso paano nga ba kung yung mismong employer mo inaabuso ka, 'di ba? Paano 'yon?
Mm.
Mahirap na situation kasi unless na meron kang malilipatan, 'di ba? Kung sa work permit lang, pwedeng i-consider nga 'yun sa vulnerable open work permit, 'di ba? Pwede may gano'n, 'di ba? Na kung naabuso ka sa current job mo, pwede kang mag-apply ng vulnerable open work permit. Pero work permit lang 'yon. Paano yung sa PR mo nga? So, sila, hindi ko alam kung hindi naman nabanggit kung anong PR application program yung in-applyan nila. And in some cases nga, kailangan nga ng support ng employer din, lalo na sa mga yung sa rural community, di ba? Yung dapat may job offer ka doon. But again, hindi ko alam kung ano yung in-applyan nila na PR program. But then again, yun talaga kailangan mo in most cases ng support ng employer So medyo limited kasi dapat nga isumbong mo talaga sila kasi kung hindi sila nagbabayad ng tama sa iyo like 2 months na, malaking issue yun. Dapat talaga ireklamo mo yun, maghanap ka ng labor lawyer. Definitely masisingil mo yun, makukuha mo yun. Pero siyempre hindi natin maiwasan na yung employer magbabago ang sentimento sa iyo. Unang-una, yung mga reprisal, bawal din yun, by the way. Hindi ka pwedeng tanggalin sa trabaho just because nagreklamo ka. Exactly. Big deal yon. So kung ganun ang nangyari, hanap ka na ng labor lawyer kasi definitely maipapanalo niya yung kaso mo. Pero yung mga, at the same time, hindi natin mapipilit si employer na suportahan ka sa mga immigration aspirations mo, di ba? Like yung mga job offer. Wala naman siyang obligation na bigyan ka ng job offer whatsoever. So, kung alisin niya yung mga ganon, medyo wala tayong magagawa doon. So, andun yung pros and cons. So, mahirap din na sabihin na isumbong mo siya or alis ka na dyan. Kasi nga, kung wala kang alternative, paano na? So, it's a tough situation to be in.
So, in a way, attorney, tama rin ba yung advice ni consultant na wag just stick with your employer, kumbaga tiyagain mo kasi nga may pending PR and I would assume big priority syempre ang pag matapos itong PR application, but as we all know also, Attorney Jake, it takes a long time nowadays to fully complete the process, diba?
Totoo din. So you have to weigh your options. So kahit man masaklap yung option mo, pero kung yun na lang din talaga yung option mo, wala ka na rin talagang ibang magagawa, di ba? So, may sense din yung sinasabi ni consultant, kaya lang, ultimately, ikaw din yung magde-decide para bang, okay lang ba sa'yo yan na inaabuso ka? Hindi ka binayaran ng 2 months? It's up to you, ikaw mag-decide kung okay lang yun sa'yo.
Kasi ano ang magiging scenario, for example, Attorney Jake? Umalis siya, kunyari, nagreklamo na siya, and then nagkahiwalay na sila ng employer niya. Kailangan maa-aksaya yung PR application niya, no? Kailangan different PR application, gano'n na mangyayari.
Depende sa PR application nga na yun. So kung ako yan, I would look into that PR application. Kailangan ba talaga ng job offer ng employer? Kasi in some cases naman hindi rin Hindi kailangan ng job.
Pero job-based daw ang sabi.
Kung job-based nga, so kung talagang kailangan, then mako-compromise nga din yun. Kasi hindi natin masisisi na kung alisin ni employer ng yung job offer. Kasi iba yung job offer doon sa yung current current position niya So medyo pagdating sa job, hindi natin mapilit si employer na i-continue niya yung job offer na yun So possible nga na maapektuhan yon if hindi na maganda yung relationship niyo. And yung mga, unfortunately, yung ibang employer, nagta-take advantage din talaga sila sa ganyang situation kasi nga alam nila na hindi ka naman din nga makaalis, hindi ka makakakita ng ibang employer pa rin. So, yun ang situation ngayon. Maraming na-exploit din talaga dahil dyan.
I know. Maraming nag-exploit and maraming talagang sinatsaga para lang sa PR, di ba? I had an episode about it.
Kahit pa paano, it's somehow kind expected, di ba? Ako, bata pa. Kaya nga takot din ako mag-abroad nun kasi alam ko may andun yung potential na ma-exploit ka kasi syempre bago ka, tsaka lalo yan kung dadaan ka sa ano muna, like contractual or work permit nga na hindi ka pa PR. Kung wala ka pang masyadong privileges doon sa bansa na pinuntahan mo parang sad to say, parang second class citizen, di ba? Pero well, that's the way it is Pero yun nga, hanggang saan ba yung PC din natin? Kaya nga ba nating tiisin yun? But somehow, it's kind of expected na rin naman na may mga ganung klaseng employer nga din na mapang abuso.
Oo. Ito, last na to, Attorney Jake. What if, natapos sa si PR? Tsinaga niya, no? Tsinaga niya. Nakuha niya na yung kanyang PR. Can she, like, leave the employer or, like, sue the employer for all the inconvenience na nangyari? Tapos, baka makaka-claim siya ng damages?
Possibly.
May ganun ba?
I think possible pa din. Huwag lang lumagpas dun sa limitation period na tinatawag, pero possibly na magreklamo pa din siya. Kasi anyway, nakuha niya na yung PR niya, so hindi na yun mababawi. So, and then yung mga nagawa ng employer niya, nandun pa rin naman. I mean, kung mapapatunayan niya na ganun nga nangyari, na may kulang sa bayad sa kanya, pwede niya pang habulin yun.
Hindi lang yung kulang, Attorney Jake. Yung parang for the inconvenience that you put me through, parang ganun. Dagdag sa sweldo na hindi pinayad. Mukhang nagbabayad naman, Attorney Jake, late lang.
Late lang. So, yung mga ganyan kasi, we have to quantify. We have to put a number on it
Okay.
Kailangan nating i-quantify yung loss na yun
I see, okay.
Pero pwede, pwede. Pwede niyang balikan yung employer niya for that.
But ewan ko lang, baka hindi na rin niya gagawin. Usually, mga ritong case, no?
So, parang
sige na, papatawarin ko na to.
Parang gano'n na, total, naging PR naman ako dahil sa'yo. So, sige na, quits na tayo. Okay na yun.
Correct. And take note yung email sender pala natin ay concerned friend. Diba? Siguro nakikita niya kasi nahihirapan nga naman yung kanyang friend saka yung anak niya. Diba? Anyway, yun lang naman. Maraming salamat sa mga nag-email sa atin and of course to Attorney Jake for always being here, answering mga emails, and giving insights on different topics. We will end this episode here, guys. Maraming salamat po. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!